Most people think like prey. They are trained to obey, to please, to wait. They are taught from birth that kindness is strength, that patience is virtue, that morality is sacred. And so, they move through the world timidly, scanning the horizon for approval, terrified of conflict, hoping that if they are good enough, obedient enough, gentle enough, life will reward them. But life does not reward prey. It devours them. Niccolò Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He stripped the illusions from politics and revealed the brutal structure beneath. Life is a hunt. There are predators, and there are victims. There are rulers, and there are ruled. There are those who seize, and those who are seized. And if you want to survive, not just survive, but dominate, you must stop thinking like prey. You must think like a predator, without mercy, without apology, without illusions. The Machiavellian mindset is not about cruelty for its own sake. It is about clarity. It is about seeing the world as it is, not as morality paints it. It is about understanding that people are selfish, fickle, fearful, and greedy, and then using that knowledge to shape them, manipulate them, control them. Mercy has its place, but it is not a principle. It is a weapon, deployed only when it serves your power. The predator smiles when it must, but its teeth are always sharp beneath the smile. Consider how the prey think. They imagine loyalty is permanent, love is unconditional, promises are sacred. They believe leaders must be noble, honest, virtuous. They judge themselves by standards written by priests and philosophers who wanted them docile. And so they feel guilt when they act in their own interest. They hesitate when they should strike. They apologize when they should demand. This is why they remain prey. Their morality is their leash, their conscience their cage. Now contrast this with the predator. The Machiavellian mind does not ask, "What is right?" It asks, "What works?" It does not ask, "What do they deserve?" It asks, "What do I need them to believe?" It does not waste time on guilt or innocence, because guilt and innocence are illusions invented to tame the herd. The predator asks only one question: how do I win? Machiavelli taught that fear is more reliable than love. Why? Because love depends on the heart of another, and the heart is fickle. Fear, however, is yours to create. It binds people to you through necessity, not sentiment. The predator does not reject love. He uses it, cultivates it, pretends it, but he never depends on it. Dependence is weakness. To think like a predator is to master fear, to wield it with precision, to make others tremble at your displeasure, even while they smile at your charm. The Machiavellian mindset is surgical. It does not lash out blindly. It studies the prey. It watches their weaknesses, their desires, their patterns of behavior. It learns what they fear losing, what they crave gaining. Then it shapes the stage, sets the trap, and strikes at the precise moment. Mercy plays no role here. Sympathy has no place. The predator knows that pity weakens the hand and hesitation ruins the hunt. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people secretly admire predators, even as they claim to despise them. They admire strength, decisiveness, cunning. They gossip about ruthless leaders, but they obey them. They resent the manipulator, but they follow him. The prey want to believe they value kindness, but when chaos rises, they look for the one who can control it, even if he controls it with claws. The predator understands this hypocrisy and exploits it. Do you want an example? Look at politics. Every beloved leader, the ones who seem gentle, noble, merciful, always had a ruthless core hidden beneath. Their kindness was strategy, their mercy was calculation. The people adored them because they balanced appearances with power. They looked like lambs, but thought like wolves. And when the moment came, they acted with precision, without hesitation, without mercy. That is why they ruled. That is why history remembers them. The Machiavellian mindset demands that you abandon the illusions that make you prey. Stop believing people will love you for your goodness. Stop expecting loyalty to last. Stop thinking honesty will protect you. These are lies, fairy tales told to keep you weak. The truth is sharper. People will betray you the moment it benefits them. They will abandon you if fear of you is gone. They will forget your kindness and exploit your weakness. The predator accepts this and uses it. This does not mean living in rage or paranoia. The predator does not waste energy in hatred. Hatred is emotional, and emotion clouds judgment. The predator is cold, calculating, disciplined. He may use rage as theater, but inside he is calm, detached, focused. He does not strike because he is angry. He strikes because it is useful. That is why he wins while others collapse in emotional storms. So ask yourself, how have you been thinking like prey? Where do you waste energy on guilt, on waiting, on hoping? Where have you hesitated because you feared judgment? Where have you obeyed rules that served others, but not yourself? These are the marks of prey. To shift into the Machiavellian mindset is to begin cutting those chains, stripping away the illusions, embracing clarity. Comment below, do you think people respect kindness, or do they secretly respect fear? Subscribe if you want to keep sharpening your thinking into a predator's blade. Share this with someone who still clings to morality as if it will protect them, and watch them recoil when you tell them kindness is weakness in the hunt of life. Because life is a hunt, and those who do not think like predators will forever be prey. Hunting is not improvisation. It is discipline, ritual, and calculation. Prey stumbles into accidents. Predators prepare. If Block 1 showed you the lens, the cold way of seeing life as a hunt, Block 2 shows you the tools, how to think, move, and strike like a predator without wasting energy on pity, guilt, or hesitation. The first law: control perception before reality. People do not respond to facts, they respond to appearances. Truth is nothing without a costume. A clumsy fact is ignored. A well-dressed illusion commands obedience. The predator invests in shaping narratives. A gesture here, a rumor there, an image crafted, a leak calculated. These are not decorations. They are weapons. Before any move, ask yourself, what will they see? And more importantly, what do I need them to believe? The second law: masks, not faces. The predator does not walk naked into the hunt. He wears masks fit for every stage and every victim. A mask of warmth to disarm. A mask of loyalty to bind. A mask of humility to buy trust. Masks are not lies. They are instruments. The face is irrelevant. The mask is the tool. Train yourself to act as if until your opponent believes. Pretend to be a friend until the debt is deep. Pretend to be weak until the enemy shows his throat. Then remove the mask at the precise moment. The third law: dependency is leverage. Freedom in others is danger for you. So you do not merely dominate, you make them need you. Identify resources, access, money, knowledge, reputation. Place yourself in control of one, and you build a leash. Provide what no one else can. Once dependency is established, you hold the chain. The beauty of dependency is that it disguises itself as gratitude. The prey thanks you, while unknowingly enslaving itself. The fourth law: divide, always divide. Prey are dangerous only when united, but unity is fragile, and the predator's craft is to shatter it. Encourage rivalry, whisper suspicion, feed envy. A single rumor can fracture alliances that looked unbreakable. The herd never realizes that the division was planted. They think the conflict is theirs, but the predator is the invisible hand orchestrating it all. The fifth law: timing is the blade. Strike too early and you fail. Strike too late and you miss. The predator learns patience, not the passive patience of prey, but the active patience of calculation. Every move is measured, every delay is chosen. The kill is only clean when the prey is already cornered, already bleeding, already convinced resistance is useless. Then the predator strikes with surgical precision. One move, no mercy, maximum effect. The sixth law, weaponize reciprocity. Human beings are wired to repay favors. The predator knows this and exploits it. He gives small gifts, small helps, calculated tokens of generosity that cost little but feel heavy. These favors grow into debts. Later, when payment is demanded, the prey complies out of obligation, not choice. Kindness becomes currency. Generosity becomes a leash. The predator never gives without purpose. Every act of kindness is a seed of control. The seventh law, create moral camouflage. Raw ruthlessness is dangerous because it provokes rebellion. To survive, the predator cloaks cruelty in the costume of virtue. Harsh acts are reframed as necessary sacrifices. Betrayals are painted as hard decisions. Punishments are explained as justice. If the story is strong, the masses will forgive even atrocities. Remember, perception erases crime. If people believe you are merciful, they will excuse the blood on your hands. The eighth law, violence is never emotional, it is transactional. Rage is weakness. The predator may display anger as theater, but internally he is cold. Violence is not for venting, it is for signaling. A punishment must teach, a strike must intimidate. Each act of cruelty must be economical, enough to terrify, never enough to appear reckless. When violence is measured, it becomes a message, and messages last longer than wounds. The ninth law, always keep a shield. Plausible deniability is not luxury, it is survival. The predator rarely kills with his own hands. He uses laws, procedures, committees, allies, scapegoats. Responsibility must blur. Accusations must disperse. If the herd cannot prove your guilt, their outrage dissolves into whispers. The predator survives by ensuring no dagger can ever be traced back to his grip. The 10th law, master distraction. The masses cannot think deeply when overstimulated, so give them noise. Create crises that drown out suspicion. Feed them scandals that keep them busy. While they argue over trifles, you move in silence. While they chase shadows, you seize the substance. The predator's hand is most powerful when the prey stares elsewhere. The 11th law, alliances are investments. A predator without allies is exposed. But allies must never be trusted blindly. They are to be cultivated like fields. Each one has a function. One grants legitimacy, another provides cover, another supplies resources. Keep them close enough to feed you, but never close enough to bite you. Rotate favors. Maintain balance. And always prepare replacements. An ally is never family. It is a tool, and tools wear out. The 12th law, calibrated humiliation. Power thrives on demonstration. To humiliate an opponent is to educate an audience. But humiliation must be precise. Too much, and it breeds vengeance. Too little, and it breeds insolence. The predator crafts humiliation like art, stripping just enough dignity to instill fear, but leaving enough room for the victim to crawl back in obedience. Every humiliation is a warning to others. This is the cost of defiance. The 13th law, unpredictability is control. Predictable predators lose their aura. The prey begins to anticipate and resists, so cultivate surprise. Be consistent in some things, reward loyalty reliably, but be unpredictable in punishment. Let them believe you are merciful, then suddenly strike. Let them think you are distracted, then reveal you were watching all along. The prey wastes its energy in paranoia, while you sharpen your claws in silence. The 14th law, never show need. Need is weakness. Desperation is a scent that attracts rivals. The predator must cultivate detachment, a sense that he could walk away from anything. Refuse what you do not need. Reject unnecessary favors. Appear self-sufficient, even if you are not. This aura of independence makes others crave your approval and fear your disapproval. The predator never begs. He makes others beg. The 15th law, turn emotions into data. The prey reacts with feelings. The predator reads feelings as information. Anger reveals insecurity. Jealousy reveals desire. Fear reveals limits. Every emotional outburst is a map. Train yourself to stay cold while others burn. Let them vent, and while they do, take notes. Where they think they show power, they reveal weakness. The predator does not fight emotions, he harvests them. Now, how do you train this mindset without losing control of yourself? 3 daily drills. The controlled rumor. Plant a false but harmless story and track how it spreads. Watch who believes it first, who repeats it, who doubts it. This will reveal the gullible, the useful, and the dangerous. The debt test. Offer a small but meaningful favor. Wait, then demand something unexpected in return. Measure how easily they comply. This shows you who is pliable and who resists. The silence ritual. In any heated exchange, withhold your response for 30 seconds. The silence destabilizes the other person. They reveal more than they should, then deliver a calm, precise reply. Silence is often sharper than words. To think like a predator without mercy is not to become a savage beast. It is to become something colder, cleaner, sharper. A strategist, a surgeon, a hunter who wastes nothing. Cruelty for its own sake is amateurish. True ruthlessness is efficient. Every move must serve a purpose. Every mask must conceal a blade. Every silence must hide a decision. And yes, you will pay the price. Prey will call you cold. They will whisper that you are manipulative, untrustworthy, dangerous. But remember, the herd hates what it cannot control. They despise predators because predators remind them of their chains. They cling to morality because morality protects them from reality. Let them cling. You do not need their approval. You need their obedience. You need their silence. You need their fear. So tell me, where in your life are you still thinking like prey? Comment below if you're ready to sharpen your instincts into weapons. Subscribe if you want to learn the final stage. How predators not only strike and manipulate, but secure their power for the long game. How to rule after the kill. Share this with someone who still thinks kindness alone will save them, and watch how quickly they retreat when you suggest that the world only respects predators. Because the Machiavellian mindset is not theory, it is survival, and survival does not wait for mercy. The hunt was only the beginning. The true test is what you become after the kill. Victory is cheap, consolidation is costly. Most hunters mistake a single strike for mastery. They shout triumph, loosen their guard, and in that breath, they die. Predators do not celebrate until the carcass is secured, the territory cleansed of rivals, the sounds of dissent muted by the geometry of power. The Machiavellian who wants not merely to win, but to last must think like an architect of permanence. That means building structures, rituals, loyalties, and illusions that translate a moment of advantage into a dynasty of influence. First, eliminate threats decisively. If you allow a defeated enemy to live with status, resources, or networks intact, you have left a live wire in your own house. The correct posture is total. Neutralize their capacity to recover. That can mean exile, debt, discrediting, or legal networks that bleed them dry. Physical elimination is sometimes necessary. More often, legalism, reputation warfare, and systematic resource denial do the work. Clean, invisible, deniable. The advantage of these methods is that they look like process while delivering finality. They teach others that resistance is not only futile, but dangerous. The message must be simple. Cross me, and you will not simply lose. You will cease to matter. Next, institutionalize your control. Raw force decays. Institutions endure. Convert personal power into systems that outlive you. Boards, rules, brands, legal frameworks, religious or corporate rituals that encode your logic. When your influence is codified, it is harder to uproot. Populate those institutions with loyalists, not merely allies who flatter, but competent hands who owe everything to you. Loyalty purchased through opportunity and confirmed by risk is sturdier than loyalty preached from a pulpit. The predator builds infrastructure, finance, legal counsel, PR engines, loyal media pockets, patronage networks. These are the scaffolding of long-term dominance. Then, control memory and narrative. Power is a story lived by the many. Seize the authorship of that story. You did not simply triumph, you were just and inevitable. Frame your actions as mercy when prudent, as necessity when brutal. Manufacture testimonials, orchestrate public reconciliations that look magnanimous, and let your enemies be the villains in your narrative drama. Rewrite the chronology of events so that your choices appear preordained and rational. The crowd forgives what fits a tidy story. It rages at contradictions. Manage archives, slow leaks, friendly historians, and curated records. If people remember you as the stabilizer, they will accept even your harder measures as necessary. Secure the elite by turning loyalty into interests. Money talks, but stakes keep people silent. Give your inner circle a share of the pie. Positions, stock, contracts, honors. Let their prosperity be tied to your survival. When their ambitions are fulfilled by you, betrayal becomes costly. The calculus of self-interest aligns them with your preservation. Use marriages, business ties, joint ventures, and shared reputational projects to weave a web that is both social and financial. But beware, do not consolidate all power in a single clan. Spread benefits so elites compete to keep you alive. A balanced bribery is better than a single dependent court. Co-opt opposition through controlled toleration. Total annihilation invites martyrs and international outrage. Better to buy off potential rivals with small victories, token posts, false prestige, or controlled platforms where they can be noticed but not empowered. Offer them a stage that shrinks their danger. Let them speak within carefully curated spaces where applause is measured and where their maximal reach is contained. When an opponent believes they are tolerated for contribution, they stop being dangerous. This is the art of neutralizing dissent without martyrdom. Create a legalized envelope for your ruthlessness. Modern predators hide within law. Pass regulations that look public-spirited but centralize discretion in your hands. Build courts, committees, oversight panels stuffed with loyalists. Use bureaucracy as a blade. Enumerate offenses, codify sanctions, and let the machinery grind down opponents under the color of legitimacy. People who are punished by law rarely suspect the artisan who shaped that law. Procedural cruelty is politically survivable because the crowd respects order, even when the order is designed to serve you. Surveil wisely. Knowledge is not only power, it is insurance. Information reveals intentions, loyalties, and compromises. Build channels that monitor the networks around you. Who calls whom, where money flows, what private sentiments are, but do so with discretion. Overt spying breeds paranoia and resistance. Instead, cultivate informants woven into normal life, administrative clerks, secretaries, favored juniors, whose reports appear as routine updates. The predator's advantage comes from anticipating moves. Knowledge turns surprise into certainty. Normalize controlled cruelty while performing benevolence. Publicly, you are merciful, generous, a builder. Privately, you are unflinching. This duality is your protection. Acts of charity, patronage, and public works buy soft loyalty from the masses. They humanize you and provide cover for harder policy measures. Simultaneously, make examples in private. Swift, surgical acts that show any challenge will be costly. If your public face is apparent and your private hand is iron, the result is compliance not from love but from resigned respect. The people will prefer the structured cruelty they understand to the chaotic consequences of rebellion. Institutionalize scapegoating rituals. When crisis strikes, the herd demands blood. Supply it on your terms. Identify expendable figures, bureaucrats, minor leaders, symbolic managers. and orchestrate public purges that provide catharsis while protecting your center. Punish visibly, but always with a script that preserves the idea of law and order. The ritual of punishment reassures the crowd that justice functions. In truth, it consolidates your legitimacy. But keep the number limited. A constant purge destabilizes institutions and erodes trust. A precise purge recalibrates fear and loyalty. Maintain a reserve of plausible deniability. The predator's hand must be invisible. Never sign the blade with your name. Use intermediaries, shell entities, plausible bureaucratic chains. When accusations arise, claim process, complexity, misinterpretation. The public forgives technicalities. It rarely digs deeper. Plausible deniability is your legal smokescreen and your moral asylum. It buys you time and disperses blame. Rotate elites and incentives. Long-term rule depends on preventing accumulation of countervailing power. Promote promising rivals only to bind them with responsibility and dependency. Demote or reassign long-term threats to benign roles far from power centers. Regularly reshuffle positions so networks cannot harden into conspiracies. At the same time, rotate rewards so fresh supporters chase your favor. This dynamic keeps ambition tuned to your rhythm and rivals hungry rather than organized. Control the economy of attention. In the information age, attention is a resource you must monopolize. Flood channels with curated narratives, redirect outrage to puppets and spectacles, and starve independent voices of oxygen through coordinated publicity and access control. Use your media allies to amplify your version of events. Drown inconvenient facts in a tide of curated stories. A distracted public is pliant. An informed public is dangerous. Manage what they can perceive and what they must forget. Plan for succession openly but ambiguously. A predator who dies without a successor invites collapse. Groom heirs who are loyal and competent, but keep the line fuzzy enough to prevent an obvious target for conspirators. Use multiple potential successors, intermarriages, or corporate structures that diffuse attention. Announce long-term institutions rather than fixed heirs. Let power appear institutional and thus perpetual, even if you remain its beating heart. Keep capacity for asymmetric responses. Maintain private security, rapid response teams, economic levers, and legal counsels ready to punish collusion quickly. The ability to respond disproportionately, swift legal injunctions, asset freezes, targeted sanctions, creates deterrence. Potential challengers calculate not only chance of success, but the speed and destructiveness of your counterattack. When response is disproportionately fast and expensive, most opponents abstain from testing the boundary. Guard your reputation aggressively. In the predator's world, reputation is both shield and spear. Manufacture narratives of righteousness. Discredit dissenting narratives ruthlessly. Use legal threats, countersuits, and targeted leaks to ruin reputations of those who question you. The ease with which you can make life miserable for critics is itself a deterrent. But calibrate attacks. Smear and ruin can provoke sympathy. Well-crafted legal pressure framed as accountability preserves legitimacy while enforcing silence. Practice moral theatricality. People need moral scripts to justify obedience. Provide them. Let your public rituals, awards, and official speeches create a grammar of virtue through which your acts can be interpreted. Host charity galas, fund hospitals, create monuments. These are not hypocrisy. They are governance. They align the crowd's moral language with your survival, making your exercise of power appear as public service rather than private domination. Never lose your capacity for adaptation. The predator who succeeded in one era but failed to read new signals dies quickly. Technology, norms, economic levers shift. Your playbook must evolve. Invest in intelligence on cultural currents, emerging tech, and legal changes. Use think tanks, academic patsies, and consulting firms to provide cover for strategic experimentation. Adaptation means keeping your toolbox flexible. If surveillance becomes toxic, pivot to economic pressure. If legal tactics fail, pivot to social influence. The predator survives by changing shape, not by rigid adherence to a single method. Finally, guard your inner life. Power corrodes the soul if left unchecked. The predator must practice cold self-honesty. Monitor your motives. Avoid letting cruelty become bloodlust. Keep rituals that humanize you privately. Escapes of art, controlled solitude, stoic discipline that prevent the predator from dissolving into mere predator. A ruler who loses calculation for rage invites ruin. Efficiency requires clarity. Clarity demands rest and perspective. If these rules sound brutal, it is because they are honest. Morality is a luxury for the prey. The predator's ethics are instrumental. Do what secures survival and maximizes influence, and avoid vanity that invites downfall. You will be hated. You will be feared. You will be whispered about in alleys and cursed in pulpits. That is acceptable. The alternative is to be loved and devoured. So what will you do with this knowledge? Practice in small theaters, boardrooms, negotiations, local networks. Test the timing, calibrate the masks, learn the rhythms of influence. Remember the drills from the hunting stage: rumor control, debt testing, the silence ritual. Scale them, institutionalize them, and never forget, consolidation is craft. It is patience, cruelty, theater, law, and silence combined. Comment below, which consolidation tactic shocks you the most? Subscribe if you want templates for institutionalizing influence, scripts, legal phrasing, public relations lines, so you can move from hunter to ruler without stumbling, like if you appreciate truth over comfort. Share if you know someone who still thinks a single victory is enough. Power is a long calculation. Predators win because they think several moves ahead, because they turn single kills into durable orders, because they build silence into law. If you choose to walk this path, learn to keep your hands clean in public and your will unchained in private. In the end, the world does not reward ethics. It rewards those who make others believe their ethics matter. That is the final art of the predator, to be the author of consent while holding the means of force.